Good morning, my name is Aaron Rigby and I'm the Managing Director of Nielsen Media Thailand. Welcome to our advertising spend report, in which we highlight and analyse ad spending activity in January through to April 2020. On top of the ad spend review, we will also take a look at media spending in Thailand during previous events like COVID-19, as well as having a look at ad spend globally and some of the core creative messaging strategies we are seeing deployed around the world. As always, if you have any questions or would like more information, please reach out. When looking at total ad spend in Thailand over the first months of 2020, we have witnessed an overall decline of 6% versus the same period last year. When looking at year-on-year trends, 2019, although slow, saw an increase of 2%, while 2018 saw an increase of 8%. There are still a lot of months left in the year, so it will be interesting to see how the last 7 months of 2020 play out and the overall impact COVID-19 will have on this. When diving deeper into the spend and looking specifically at the different media types and splitting out April from the rest of the year, we start to really see the impacts of people working from home, reducing transit, and ultimately the overall reduction of advertising spend from advertisers. Obviously, the two biggest media types affected are outdoor advertising, which has seen a drop of 6% between January and April, 15% alone in April. Cinema, of course, has also had a massive drop in 2020 to date, with 41% drop for the first 4 months and 100% in April. All other media is also down, with TV trending down 6% for year to date and 29% in April alone. Internet spending on this chart is showing an increase of 23%. However, this is based on data collected and released in Q4 of 2019 by the DAAT and is an estimate of what was to come, not what we are actually seeing play out now. So obviously at the time, COVID-19 wasn't part of that equation, so this is most definitely inflated. Our own new digital data metrics service, which launched in June last year, could provide a better picture. However, we don't have year-on-year data available yet to compare it to. When breaking this ad spend down into industry verticals, we have witnessed the pharmaceutical, household products, electrical products, and education categories see an increase in ad spend. Specifically, education has increased by 75%, driven by messaging for online courses and learning from home. When we look at the top 5 industries with a negative shift, be it food and beverage, personal and cosmetics, automotive and finance, we've seen a reduction across the lot. Interestingly, these categories are amongst the highest spending categories in Thailand, and the drop from these advertisers is driving most of the overall reduction we have seen across the whole industry. When we dive deeper and look at the pre- and post-COVID impact, all categories reduced spend in April, except for household products and media and marketing, which grew by 4%, mostly because of direct sales, specifically on the mono channel. If we go another step down further to the next level at advertiser level, we have seen the big household product brands, specifically Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Reckitt Bayer and Pfizer, increase their spend in April. However, this increase has been offset by reductions across other categories. When looking at Unilever, we can see they've tightened their budget across personal care and food and beverage categories whilst increasing spend in household products like the comfort ad we can see here. For further context to exactly how advertisers and broadcasters are connecting with consumers with COVID-19 contextual messaging, we've included 4 different examples of that here. Firstly, PTT, which is the biggest gas station in Thailand, as well as an investor in energy-related businesses, ran a campaign to encourage people to stay home. Channel 8 ran a campaign asking people to show appreciation to medical staff and donate to help with the relief. Channel 7 ran a similar campaign asking to show appreciation to medical staff, as well as highlighting Channel 7's CSR activity during this crisis to date, whilst Channel 3 ran a similar campaign themselves. In an effort to help the industry both understand and make decisions in this unprecedented time, we thought it would be useful to take a look back at past events and see what happened to ad spending during that time and how the industry both reacted and the length of time it took for the industry to recover, as well as provide some overall context of how COVID-19 is impacting the media industry in relation to other important events. For the purpose of this study, we took a look at the 2008 economic recession, the political unrest in 2010, the flooding events of 2011, and the passing of King Rama IX in 2016. Over the past 13 years of analysing Nielsen's AdIntel data, as well as data sourced from the DAAT, we found that only 2 of those 4 events saw a subsequent decline in ad spend. Those were the economic recession in 2008, which saw a decline of 2% on ad spend, and the passing of the King in 2016, which saw a decline of 10%. When comparing these 4 events to COVID-19, it's clear that the current event has made a significantly greater impact in a much shorter amount of time than all those events, including the passing of the King, which saw all advertising banned on television for a period of time. So when comparing the overall decrease of 25% for the current crisis versus a decrease of 5% for the recession, an increase during the political protests of 2010, with cinema leading the way there, the flooding, which saw a decrease of 3%, and the passing of the King saw a decrease of 28%, driven by the banning of advertising for multiple months. What is also interesting in these cases is that when you look at the different media types, there was generally at least one media type that grew during these events. When looking at the COVID crisis, other than digital showing a 23% increase, which, as I explained earlier, is based on an estimate from Q4 last year and most likely significantly inflated here, we have seen an across-the-board decline in advertising across all media types, to the likes that we have not seen over the past 13 years. If we then compare the different major categories across those events, we see some categories up and down across the board, except for travel and real estate, which saw declines for every event, including COVID-19 so far. So what's to come, and what can we learn from these events? From where we are today, I think most marketers would really like to know when we will recover, and we can look at these previous events to maybe dictate how long it might take to get back to the pre-crisis ad spend levels we had before. For all the events highlighted here, there was a clear plan and horizon for the ending, except of course the recession, which, similar to COVID, didn't have a clear path out at the beginning. COVID, however, today doesn't seem to have any clear path yet, and going back to normal might not be possible for a long time. Looking at past events, the economic recession took about 1 year to recover and get back to the pre-recession ad spend levels, whilst the other 2 events didn't actually see a reduction over the time. The passing of the King, however, took the longest to recover, taking almost 2 years to go back to pre-event ad spend levels. A lot of that reduction, however, was artificial, as there was a banning of advertising during the event, immediately after the event, 100 days after the event, and then 1 year following. So other than looking back to understand how to move forward, we can also take a look around the globe to see how advertisers are reacting in other countries. Looking around the globe at daily new cases of COVID-19, Thailand is in a good place compared to most, and is classified as winning alongside South Korea and Norway. When we look at the number of TV spots between April 2019 and April 2020, most countries have seen similar reductions in ad volumes. Usually, in a normal April, ad spending tends to skyrocket because of the long Songkran holiday, and it's also the season when advertisers launch new and seasonal products. Given products will still need to be launched, we'll have to wait and see if there's a delay in this activity or it's gone till 2021. In terms of TV spots, the situation in South Korea has improved since the beginning of April. However, it's still below the same time in 2019. Compared to Thailand, TV spots have declined in April as most of the Thai population are working from home. The government also announced a curfew in those first few weeks, which saw the closures of shops, stores and malls. When looking even further at South Korea's ad spend, specifically at the different sectors, we have seen a dramatic decline across all media types for the beverage and service sectors. Interestingly, we've also seen Samsung continue to invest in TV and press advertising whilst reducing their spend in Thailand, especially in April. When looking beyond South Korea, and specifically at how advertisers are using COVID-19 in their advertising messaging strategy, we have seen a pretty quick shift from early March around the world. In terms of industries, the finance sector has seen the most amount of COVID-related messaging, followed by the retail sector, whilst at a country level, the UK has had the largest percentage of COVID-related activity. From an executional standpoint, we have seen 3 key approaches emerge. The first approach we've identified is charitable relief, which asks consumers to donate and also allows advertisers to talk about their own pledges, be it money or product. This example shows Unilever's campaign to provide €1 million worth of soap, sanitizers, bleach and food. Other brands like Budweiser and AB InBev brand have publicly stated that they have taken funding meant for advertising and instead pledged that amount to help the relief. We saw Coke run a similar campaign too. The second approach we have dubbed frontline assistance. This has seen advertisers offer free products and services to the frontline workers, or advertisers who are repurposing their production lines to create products, be it sanitizers or face masks, to support and protect frontline workers. As we can see here from Burger King, who are offering free drinks to emergency and social workers, and of course Brewdog and Yves Saint Laurent, who are repurposing their production lines to create hand sanitizer. And finally, the third approach we've discovered is message reinforcement, which is a trend we are seeing that includes brands like McDonald's and Coca-Cola that have creatively changed their logos or taglines to reinforce important messages like social distancing, staying at home, etc. We've also included activity that provides a service, usually free, for in-home learning or improving of skills, like Fender Guitars, who have created a free platform for guitar enthusiasts to practice, learn, and sharpen their craft. So, let's recap what we have covered today. We are still seeing declines in ad spending as activity is on hold. We expect to see some advertisers return to the airways in June, and we are in fact working with some of them now to help them do exactly that. Message is still king, and COVID contextual messaging will continue as people look to advertisers to help them understand how to live in this new normal. Understanding and reflecting on the magnitude of this event is important, especially when looking at previous events and seeing the impact this event is having on the media world. This is the biggest drop in our industry in over a decade, so be mindful of that. However, it's important to mobilize your business and stay connected to your customers to build and grow again. And finally, get ready for the bounce back. With a lot of normality returning next week in June, we will see expectations rise from consumers, and advertisers will need to step in, step up, and show us the way forward. So what's next? We are certainly still in the reactionary phase as we close out May. From the looks of it, a lot of businesses, schools and services will reopen from June 1 here in Thailand, which should signify the beginning of whatever the next stage is, both socially and for our own media industry. With malls, some schools and public spaces reopening, let's hope it's the right decision and it allows us to start putting the pieces back together, leave our homes, apartments and condos and start to rebuild. Some say it might be too early to reopen, whilst others say we must. Either way, we are moving forward and we must learn from the past and adapt to the new normal. So that's it from me. I hope you found this presentation informative. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. We're here to help. Thank you.